Report 13964-805. I was recently assigned to a human research ship, testing their new jump drive technologies. With help of the Tutelian Empire, our human colleges were granted approval for uplift from the galactic community. I have been stationed here in order to monitor their progress and the efficiency of their jump drive. What I witnessed was by far the most terrifying thing that I've ever experienced in my life. We all know that the humans are amazingly adaptable. Their adaptability scores are off the charts. I mean, that's expected for them coming from a deaf world and all. But what I witnessed goes beyond even my wildest imagination. At first, everything looked like a normal test jump. Nothing unexpected in the slightest. Well, some of the humans didn't seem to be taking it as seriously as they could have. But different species have various different ways of expression, and for some it is normal to perform bonding activities while performing other activities. Though rare, it does happen, so I wasn't taken aback when they began to tell jokes and giggle while adjusting the settings on their monitors. Then they started the countdown. A normal process for humans, apparently. Again, different species have different ways of expressing this, but most are similar in that they do have some expression to let everyone in the vicinity know that the test is about to begin. Then we jumped. Again, everything was fairly normal, and went according to expectations. The engines obviously weren't calibrated correctly, leading to a rough jump that took longer than expected. However, I fully expected that, and so did they. Most species take at least a dozen jumps or so to gather the necessary data and correct their calibrations. Then that's where everything started to go wrong. I was monitoring them, and as soon as we left jump, it felt like the artificial gravity devices began to malfunction, because the atmosphere on the ship, as the humans like to say, grew 10 times heavier. All of the humans were deathly serious. They had transformed in a matter of milliseconds from a perfectly normal social species to one that had no emotion in their actions. They began to press buttons on their screens and shout information back and forth at an astounding rate. I became dizzy just trying to keep up with their vast amounts of information, just being communicated verbally. That's not even including the information being transferred through the monitors that I didn't even want to try and comprehend. Recordings are included with this log. Listen to them at your own discretion. I didn't even have enough time to speak up and ask what was happening before the countdown for the next jump started. I wanted to ask what all of that was about. At first I was afraid of the potential psychological side effects that such a jump might have on this species, but I held my breath, mostly because I was merely here as an observer and to provide assistance if needed. It was not my job to question the sanity of the crew. After the next jump, it appeared that they began to return slightly to normal. Information was still being shouted verbally at an alarming rate, like a human child that just learned profanity. However, I could have sworn that I heard a chuckle or two coming from the humans before the next countdown started. That's not the reason I chose to remain quiet, though. No. I chose to hold my tongue, as the humans say, because I could not possibly process what had just happened. The next jump was scheduled to be a 33% increase in distance from the first. However, my timekeeping device showed that we arrived at our destination even sooner. At first, I was taken aback. Did something go wrong? Did we have to stop the jump test early? No. Just as the thoughts began creeping into my cognitive organs, I heard screeches from the humans, indicating that the jump had been successful, and that we had arrived as expected, at the expected location and time. I was stunned and could not speak. Then the third jump. Again the humans shouted and typed away at their monitors. Again the jump was a longer distance and shorter time. Again I could not speak. For several minutes I stood there in complete horror of what I'd just witnessed. Then, the most terrifying thing yet occurred. The human captain walked up to me and displayed a diagram of the ship's jump drives. She asked if the designs were correct. I glanced at them, and after pulling up the diagrams from my own system, I confirmed that there were no differences in the physical construction of the device. The human captain said to me, "That's strange. You see here, this piece is slightly too large, and this one here is slightly too small. That's causing a slight tick and decreasing the efficiency of the drive." I double-checked the parts that she had pointed out, and they matched perfectly with our diagrams. After confirming with her that there were no issues, she explained, "Well, by our calculations, by making some slight adjustments here, there, and there, we should be able to increase the efficiency of the engine by 0.3% and decrease the likelihood of failure by 13%. I looked at her in amazement, before gathering my thoughts and explained, "That's impossible. Not only was this device designed and approved by our best engineers, but we have never had a report of a malfunction in our entire history." To which she replied, "Have you had ships with these engines go missing before?" "Well, yes." "How does someone stranded in dark space, or worse, dead, report a malfunction?" "I suppose that they don't." "Don't worry. I would expect that it's extremely rare, and I already have my engineers working on it as we speak." I was completely taken aback by her comment. I didn't know whether to be worried that a species who had never designed their own jump drive was trying to repair this one, or the fact that what she said seemed to make sense. Well, I had no say in the matter, really. I was just here as an observer. However, I did fear for my life. That wasn't the scary thing that I was talking about, though. No. The scariest part of this whole experience was the return trip. I don't think that I need to explain what happened during the return trip. Everything went smoothly. Too smoothly. The humans were capable of not just adjusting their calibrations on the fly, as they say, and with minimal date, but they were able to improve our designs in only a matter of hours. Human adaptability is immeasurable. I still do not know whether to be amazed or horrified at the revelation and experience. All of the information that you need is recorded in the logs. However, as an observer, I would just like to explain my terror at this new revelation. I fear that the humans will soon become the equivalent of an invasive species on the galactic stage. End report.